Okay, hello. I want to talk about a very important topic today. And this is a topic that I don't think people are even aware of. And if they are aware of it, I still don't think that they truly understand it. And I'm just going to start off and show you what I mean. So, we're talking about this. We're talking about phones, phone usage. And I have observed through quite a long time behaviors when it comes to using the phone, whereby people seem to be fixated on their phones and their devices. You go to any train, tube, or tram around the world, and what you will see is people there like this on their phones all the time. You don't even need to look at it there. Even when you walk on the street, you will see people on their phones. When they are in restaurants, they'll be on their phones. In cafes, on their phones. In airports, on their phones. Airports is a bit different because it actually serves a purpose there. When you're traveling, you need information. But the point I'm making is that in general, these devices are overused. And if you think about it in a very logical way, is what do you really need your phone for? You need your phone for calling. You need your phone maybe to message. You need your phone maybe to pay for things or buy things online. And maybe taking photos. But aside from that, a lot of what people use the phones for have no meaning whatsoever. For example, if you make a phone call, that's understandable. You're talking to a loved one over the phone, especially if, for example, you're living overseas. People these days don't use those landlines. Landlines being phones that are connected to your home network. You just use your mobile. You just use your iPhone or your Android devices. And there's this word that is used, is called smartphone. No. I don't see it as a smartphone. I see it as a dumb phone. A dumb phone, why? Because it is taking up your time. And it is truly sad, ladies and gentlemen. It is very, very sad. I kid you not, I have seen people, I have experienced it for myself, where you're with a person or you're observing other people and they are socially, meaning physically, in the same environment, but their attention is elsewhere. How sad is that? They are physically in an environment where they can communicate with each other. Excuse me. They can talk to each other. But what is happening is they're communicating with someone else on their phone. So instead of communicating with the person who they are actually physically with, they are messaging someone else who's not even there. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing the use of phones and things like that, because they have their use. For example, if I don't have my phone, it will be a difficult situation. When I want to travel, when I want to go out of the house and I want to do things, I do need my phone. But the problem is that these phones have become so fused to our identity that we don't even realize it. We don't even realize it. When the iPhone came to be, it took the world by storm. When it was introduced, I don't know, in 2007 or whatever, people were just glued to this thing. And in my view, what ensued from there would be years and years of being attached to a physical device. I really want you to think about this. You don't need to get in the comments. You don't need to. You just need to think about your situation. Think about it from a logical standpoint. I'm not going to be hypocritical here, ladies and gents. If you are using your device to learn something which will improve your life, then fine, go ahead and use your device. But if you're there endlessly scrolling at nonsense, watching other people's videos, watching other people, how they're living their lives, what they're talking about, what they're commenting on, you are wasting your life and you don't even realize it. Time is going to go by, and all that you can then say, you were just looking at people living their life. How boring is that? Go and live your own life. Make your own memories. Make your own videos. It depends who you're listening to. If someone is giving you advice and it's improving your life, then sure, yeah, listen to them. And the craziest thing is that it's insidious. It's so fused into our way of life that we don't even realize it. You don't even realize it. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a challenge. I like to call this a simple one-day challenge. I want you to put this phone away and see what happens. Most of us, when we can't find our phones, we go into like a panic mode. I honestly have a view that the generations before us, while they had it much, much harder, I'm not going to lie, they did. Our lives these days are not like what it was for previous generations who had to endure wars and things like this. But this really is a problem, boys and girls. Do not think that it is not. And some of you may say, well, I like my phone. It gives me enjoyment. It gives me this. It gives me that. Yeah. Will it ever give you the enjoyment and fulfillment of being with another person, having an actual conversation with a person? And what these phones are doing is they're distancing people rather than bringing them closer. Now, yes, it's understandable. If you're living in different countries, yeah, it's nice to have a phone. You can do a FaceTime call. You can see the person there, sure. But How many hours in a day are you using your devices? And what are you getting out of that? Are you earning money from that? Are you enhancing your brain power, your knowledge? Are you benefiting the world? Or are you pointlessly wasting time? I like to go really deep in this. And I like to compare it to a prison. If you are addicted to your phone, you are in a prison. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. You are in a prison. And the problem with excessive phone usage, studies have been done to show this. It increases anxiety levels. You develop a dopamine-dependent addiction to your devices. You don't understand it. Your phone is like a drug. Make no mistake about it. And here's what happens when you stop using your phone. You stop wasting time. If you want to read a book, go and buy a book. You don't need to read it on your phone or on your iPad. That is bullshit. Go and buy a book, pay the money, have a hard copy version of that book, and read it. You don't need a phone or an iPad for that. You want to watch a movie, go and buy a TV. Phones have their place, don't get me wrong, but the problem is people overuse these devices. I see it all the time. They're glued on these stupid devices. What can you possibly be doing on a small little screen device like that, spending hours and hours a day? Doing what? And if we look at the social demographic of it, you say, oh, okay, it's only youngsters that have this problem. No, it's not. No, it's not at all. I've seen elderly people on their devices as well. You know, the senior age group. They're on their devices as well. They're not an exception to this. And the worst thing is our younger generation being gifted these phones and devices. Call me old-fashioned, but I will never ever buy my child, if I have a child, one of these devices. Never. I will buy them, a flashy new iPhone, because I know the problems it's going to create for them in their life. They're going to become addicted to it. Call me old-fashioned. I don't care. But I'm just talking about things the way I see. You put your phones away and you see what you can accomplish in a day. It will blow your mind. It's an anxiety device, ladies and gentlemen. When you've got that phone on, you are inviting messages in, you're constantly available to answer. Don't need it. You want to talk to me at the end of the day. I don't, if you have a partner or something like that, you don't need to be in constant contact through text messaging. Talk to them at the end of the day. How do you think it was in the olden days? You think they were sending text messages all the time? They weren't. They weren't doing that at all. They would go about their business, and at the end of the day, the couple would have a discussion. They'll talk about their life. What is so important that we have to be constantly in touch and messaging? Think about that. Really, really think about that. How many hours are you using the phone? How could your life be better when you stop using the phone? Seriously. Seriously. And another thing is that people will sometimes go out, for example, and go on a date or something like that, and the other person will be using their phone while they're talking to them. I've seen this so many times. I've actually seen couples on dates in beautiful restaurants, and guess what they're doing? They're doing this. They're eating and they're playing with their phone. And their partner's doing the same thing. If I was on the receiving end of that, you know what I'd do? I'd stand up, I'd say, see you later. I'm not going to sit there and communicate with someone who is using their device. Boring. Seriously, you've got to get serious about this. It may sound a bit uncomfortable, and, the words I'm using may come across like a bit aggressive, but you have to wake up. You've got to realize this. Because time is going to go by. You're going to wake up in 5 or 10 years and you say, oh my goodness, what did I do with my life? So we have to get intentional. We've got to realize that it is a problem. It is an absolute problem. Make no mistake about it. And the problem is, if we look at the pattern of how the problem emerges and deriving the problem, you have a device that allows you pretty much to do anything. And that is the problem. You have unlimited resources that you can have access to, and that's too much power to have in one small device. Remember that famous quote from that Spider-Man movie, with great power comes great responsibility? Well, your phone is powerful. It's got a lot of functions it can do that. But are you ready to be responsible with that amount of power? And so that's why what we're seeing is people are becoming overly addicted to these devices. And it is sad. It is sad. It is pushing people away rather than bringing them closer. It is causing social isolation. When you're looking at a screen, when you're looking at other people's videos and things like that, everything in balance, ladies and gents. Everything in balance. Too much of anything is no good. I hope you enjoyed that. Take care.